welcome back to Questioning Scents with me, Matt. Okay, today we're going to be looking at some samples we received. We've actually, I think, Richard back at Questioning Scents HQ acquired some samples from the house of Eight & Bob for us to have a go at. Now, I've never really smelt anything from the house before, but there has been a little bit of a vibe about them online, so I thought, right, well, let's explore them. Now, Rich actually bought these, so they've not been sent to us by anyone or anything like that, so again, it's all our own opinion. Also, the review I'm going to do today, I've only worn the sample, so it's like normally when we review something, I've spent a bit more time with it because it's normally a fragrance that I've actually owned and worn for quite a while. So the review is on a few days of wearing the sample, and we'll go from there really. So we've got three to have a look at. We've got Egypt, and we got Provence, and we got, what's the other one? I think the original, whatever that is, that one there. Again, for little samples, great presentation. I love the boxes and stuff like that. It's all really cool. It's all really good. So Egypt was the one that excited me the most in terms of the note breakdown and stuff like that. So this is the one we're going to review today. So this is a review of Eight & Bob's Egypt, taken from a sample, not actually the full bottle. So when we're talking about Eight & Bob, you've got to look at this amazing backstory they've got, and it's really quite amusing. Well, you know, we'll wait and see. So Eight & Bob, the history. Eight & Bob started in 1730 or something like that as a tailors in London. Then they swiftly moved to Paris and began making fragrances for the rich, the famous, film stars, pharaohs, kings, gods, anyone who's ever been anything but was never available for the public to buy up until, hang on a second, obviously I'm joking. That's the other French house with a fantastic backstory. Eight & Bob's backstory is even more fantastic. This comes from a tale of French aristocracy. This is the story of Albert Fouquet and his butler Philippe, and in the story it really is the most fantastical thing you've ever read. It involves sort of hiding secrets from the Nazis. It involves American presidents, Cary Grant, all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. I mean, for me to then sort of break through and tell you the entire backstory of Eight & Bob would take about half an hour. So it's something you're going to have to read up on, possibly with a pinch of salt. Now, I'm not saying it's, how do I say this, untrue, because I don't know. But it does seem quite fantastical. You know, this is like 30s onwards, and they're a relatively new house from what I understand. So, you know, read into that what you like. So what we're going to do is we'll talk about Egypt, again from a sample. So I'm going to give it a quick spray now. As you can see, I'll plough through quite a lot of this. Let me get the glasses on. Okay, so this apparently was developed in something like 1935, but it's only been on the market since 2014 for some reason. Which again, you know, hey ho. Egypt, this fragrance, has its own fantastical backstory as well, which is...
is this going to take long?
It involves the hero of the story, which is Albert Fouquet, or for the sake of this review, we'll just refer to him as Eight & Bob. So Eight & Bob used to have a friend called Ahmed, a childhood friend, who lived in Egypt. And then Ahmed decided, Eight & Bob decided at some point that he would go and visit Ahmed in Egypt. And while he was there, he was going to pay homage to the spiritual home of perfumery, which kind of makes sense. So once he's arrived in Egypt, he's obviously hit with this wave of new scents and fragrance and smells, and the flora and the fauna of Egypt has kind of blown our intrepid Frenchman away. So he was so inspired by...
Are we there yet?
Not yet.
And I cannot make this up. He's inspired by the ancient gods of Egypt and all this other wonderful sort of tripe to create this fragrance, which has been released, called Egypt. Now, if we have a look at the notes, let's read the notes out, and you can make some sort of opinion of your own. So in the top, you have lavender, lemon, and moss, and then in the heart, you have nutmeg and cardamom. And in the base you have sandalwood, leather and patchouli. So what do you get? Well, you get a slightly sweet, slightly quite masculine fougere. It's pleasant. It's also been done to death. It's generic. It's all right. It's quite nice. I mean, in terms of the quality of the fragrance, it is actually a really well blended, really good performing. It's quite loud for the first hour. It hangs around you quite nicely for the first hour. It's got slightly above average performance. It's not a massive performer, but it's not bad. It's no slouch. The spices are there, but they're very subtle. Lavender seems to be, to me, the overwhelming or most dominant note within this accord. The accord of lavender is certainly the most dominant note throughout the life of the fragrance. As I say, the average performance is slightly above average, 7 to 8 hours I seem to get out of it. Again, this could be, it might last a bit longer. This could be that I'm working from a sample, so I'm not spraying quite as heavily as I would do normally. So maybe that does have some kind of effect on the longevity of the fragrance, but it shouldn't really have that much. I mean, it's pleasant, it's nice, but it's, I don't know. With this amazing backstory, this fragrance is a bit dull, let's be completely honest. It's not a chore to wear at all, it's quite pleasant, but it's not exciting. It doesn't evoke sort of any imagery of Egypt. I mean, for this, you know, this intrepid French fragrance explorer to go to such an exciting country and then make a fragrance where the dominant note is lavender, I'm assuming that there's quite a lot of lavender in France. So, you know, I don't think, you know, he's really, or, you know, true to the backstory, has made this exciting exotic perfume. You know, with the Penhaligon's review when they did Cairo, they knocked that out the park. When you spray Cairo on yourself, you get transported to Cairo. There's a magic and there's a majesty of that fragrance. Whereas this, we have a very clean smelling, slightly sweet, slightly masculine, tiny bit spicy fougere that, you know, has been done to death many times. And the thing is with Egypt, it's a premium fragrance, so it's not cheap at all. You're paying quite a lot of money for the 100ml. I think it's about £140, so probably $160, $170. We'll have a look and get the prices of the full bottle online. So, you know, you're paying a lot of money for something that you can get equally as good for a lot less, which probably performs to the same level or maybe a bit better. So I don't really understand why there's much hype behind Egypt. I mean, to some, I can see why people like it because it's a well-blended scent, it performs well, it's nice to wear. It's just not very exciting. You know, with the Eight & Bob backstory, you know, there's always talk of celebrities and presidents wearing their fragrances. And that kind of did make me think of film and, you know, who would wear Egypt. I'll tell you who would wear Egypt. Michael Caine in Educating Rita. Someone like that would wear Egypt. Some sort of more mature, sort of well-dressed professor from a university who likes to smell a little bit interesting but not particularly outrageous. Someone like that would wear Eight & Bob's Egypt. This is a masculine fragrance, there's no doubt about that. I can't see any females wearing it comfortably, but then again, hey ho, if they like it, wear it. No issues with that whatsoever. I think a trick has been missed with this. I'm enjoying the sample, don't get me wrong. I've still got probably another couple of wearings, you know, within the sample. And then that'll be it. I'm not interested in taking this one any further, and I don't think Rich was either. He thought he was a bit sort of nonplussed by the whole experience. Rich has worn all three of them. I've only worn this one yet, so I'm going to do reviews on the other two as and when I get a chance. I'm sure, you know, one thing that I will say is you can tell that the fragrance is a quality blend. It's not offensive. It's quite nice. It's just a bit dull. So for me, yeah, maybe sample it, maybe you'll like it. I'm not entirely sure, but it's really not one I'm not that fussed about. So give it a go and see what you think. You know, again, the presentation of the little sample boxes and stuff like that, it's a really nice experience, don't get me wrong. I enjoy what they've done. I just wish that the juice in there was a little better. Anyway, as always, thank you very much for your time. I hope you've enjoyed it. Plenty more reviews coming, so please like and subscribe, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Many thanks. Bye-bye.